Oh, hi. Just out doing a little detective work. You know, what reporters do. This week, you're going to be doing a lot of detective work. If you remember, during my meeting with you all last week, I talked about how one of the things that you're going to be doing is being a detective. This is the week that you really start doing that. So last week, you met the whole planet class. You learned about the planet and its history, and you started to go on a hunt for your own story. And now you've been assigned a story. So now is your chance to really dig in, and that means being a detective. So there's two main things that you're going to be doing this week. One is you're going to be finding sources. Those are going to be people, documents, or your own observations. And those sources are going to feed into a source list, which is the major assignment that is due on Saturday at noon. Saturday at noon. The other thing that you're going to be doing besides finding sources is you're going to start interviewing. You need to have at least one interview done by the end of this week for your source list. Interviews are really crucial. I know they can be a little bit nerve-wracking for people who haven't done them before, but it's really vital to a successful story that you start interviewing early, and you talk to a lot of people. So this is the week to dip your toes into that. I want to stress that for news stories for the Planet magazine, your entire story is built of facts. Think of them like, the universe is made of atoms. News stories are made of facts. Every statement that's in your story really should have a factual basis. You should be able to point to where you got that information. Our stories, by and large, really don't have much place for your own opinion. Your job is to go out and get other people's opinion, get other people's insights. You're going to be using judgment as you decide what belongs in the story and what doesn't. But just coming out with your own opinion really doesn't have a place in the story. It needs to be built out of facts. Okay, so the source list, like I said, is going to be the major assignment, and then the interview. So there's going to be a number of videos for you to watch this week, and those are going to be really important to give you a grounding on the fundamental skills that you're going to be using for reporting. So please don't neglect them. There's going to be a video about human sources, a video about document sources, and then a video about interviewing. In addition to those things, you should definitely read the Planet Handbook chapter on interviewing. That's really going to spell out the basics of how to conduct an interview that's effective and also ethical. You really want to be sure that you're following the professional standards of how to conduct an interview. And then finally, there's a sheet that you'll find in the module section for this week called Tools of the Trade. And that really walks through the basic equipment that you're going to be needing to do your reporting. And depending on which kind of reporter you are, writer, photographer, videographer, it's going to be a different list of tools. But really take a look at that before you embark on doing interviews. And then finally, this week, you're going to meet your team. You're going to meet the editor that you're going to be working with most closely, and then the fellow reporters who are part of the team that work with that editor. So these are the people that you're really going to be spending the most time with for the rest of the quarter. I'm going to be happy to talk with you during office hours, and I might occasionally come in and do an all-class session, but really, by and large, your face-to-face, Zoom interaction is going to be with your editor and your fellow reporters on that team. So this is the week to start meeting with those folks. All right, I want to give you a closer look at the source list assignment to be sure that you understand what's expected of you as you embark on it this week. Let's take a look. I'm on the assignments page for Canvas. You'll see here in the writers section, the second assignment is the source list for writers. There's a comparable assignment for both photographers and videographers in your section. You can read the details. I'm not going to go into every part of it. Please take a close look at it. Just a few things I want to note. Press releases and published news articles do not count as document sources. For writers, you're expected to include in your source list 5 human sources and 5 document sources. For photographers, it's 2 human sources and 1 document source. For videographers, again, 5 human sources, 5 document sources. For each group, you're expected to have done 1 preliminary interview. So that might be a full interview where you get someone on the phone and you have a great interview. It might also just be a time when you talk to someone briefly, get a sense of who they are, whether they're someone that you want to talk to further and make an appointment. Either way, please make an audio recording of that interview with the permission of the person that you're interviewing. You never know when they're going to say something that you want to be able to quote later. Photographers, in addition to that, you will be doing a photo plan. There's a template for that in your source list assignment. Videographers, you will be doing a B-roll plan, which is a basic outline of the footage that you want to take for your video. Now I want to show you in more detail what a source list looks like. If you go down here, you can see there's something called the sources template. We're going to go to that now. This is the model that you should be following when you create your source list. Okay, here we are. We're at a source list. I just want to point out a few things. First of all, this is the human sources. You include the person's name, their title, their contact information, and then a little bit of information about who they are so that the editors can understand why they're someone you would want to talk to. Please notice that some of these are highlighted. The ones that are highlighted are people who you have actually talked to. That's how I know who you've done your preliminary interview with. By the way, feel free to talk to more than one person this week if you want to, but 1 is a minimum. You can see each one of these has a brief paragraph summary about the person, whether you talked to them or not, what they told you, what use you think they'll be for your story. And now we have another section, written sources. It's basically a bibliography. You have basic information about each source, their date, the place where it can be found, the title, and then afterwards, again, a paragraph summarizing what's in the written source or document source and why you think that it's going to be useful for your story. You can see I'm scrolling down here. That's it. That's what the source list should look like. All right, I hope you have a clear idea now of what is involved in the source list. Please be sure to take a look at the other instructional videos this week for more detailed information about how to report. And if you have any questions, I would recommend first starting with your editor and with your teammates in your editing group. But if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to get in touch. All right, good luck. Start reporting. Now I just have to find some of those tricky facts for my stories. Bye. Is it here?